Hi, Rainbow Room. Happy Friday. I'm here to finish Magic Tree House number 28, High Tide in Hawaii. We're going to find out what happens at the end of the story. Do Jack and Annie get to find the thing they need to take back to the Magic Tree House? Are they in the clear? Is everyone really safe? Let's find out. Chapter 9, Telling the Story. Finally, the hugging and crying and laughing died down. The villagers started walking back to their huts. Jack and Annie followed, Boca, Kama, and their parents. We felt the ground shaking, said Boca, and Kama's father. We knew a big wave might follow. Jack saved us, said Boca. He read in a book and found out about big waves. What's a book? Asked his mother. Show them, Annie said to Jack. Jack reached into his pack and took out their research book. It tells about the big waves in here, he said. Books give us lots of information. Ah, said Boca and Kama's mother. A book is a good thing. Books tell stories too, said Annie. That is impossible, said Kama. The book cannot move its feet or wave its hands. It cannot sing or chant. That's true, said Jack, smiling. Now, we should do the hula, Boca said to Annie, Kama, and Jack, and tell our story. I'll watch, said Jack, stepping away. Boca and Kama's father called for music. The villagers gathered around and started to play a pipe. A teenage boy knocked two sticks together. Some women began shaking rattles. Boca, Kama, and Annie waved their hands in time to the music. They stepped from side to side. They swayed their hips. Kama chanted about going out into the water. She, Boca, and Annie waved their hands to show how they paddled out to sea. Kama chanted about how Jack had warned them. She and the others waved their hands to show how they rowed their surfboards to shore. Then Jack surprised himself. He waved his hands to show how he rode his surfboard like a bird soaring through the air. The next thing he knew, he was stepping from side to side. He was swaying his hips. He was doing the hula. Kama chanted about how the water had pulled away from the shore and how they had climbed to safety and how the giant wave had crashed against the cliff. There's Jack doing the hula, even though he said he'd just watch. I think the music got to him. As Kama chanted the story, all the villagers joined in the dance. The tall grasses swayed, the palm trees swayed, and all the hula dancers swayed too. When the story ended, everyone clapped. Thanks for helping us, Boca said to Jack and Annie. We're a good team, said Annie. We are best friends, said Kama. Yeah, said Jack. I'm sorry I said mean things. We're sorry we laughed at you, said Boca. I'm sorry I grabbed the book, said Annie. Our mother says friendship is like riding the waves, said Kama. Sometimes you ride low, gentle waves. Sometimes you ride high ones. Annie gasped. She looked at Jack. She repeated Morgan's rhyme. To find a special magic, build a special kind of ship that rides the waves both high and low on every kind of trip. Friendship, that's a ship, said Jack. And we built it, said Annie. She and Jack burst out laughing. Boca and Kama looked a little confused, but they laughed too. We have to go back to our own home now, she said to Boca and Kama. It's time to say goodbye, said Jack. We never say goodbye, said Kama. We always say aloha when we greet our friends, and we say aloha when we leave them. Friends are always together, said Boca. Even when they're far apart. Have a good journey in your magic tree house, said Kama. Thanks, said Jack and Annie. They waved to all the villagers. Aloha! Aloha, everyone called back. Then Annie and Jack started through the meadow. Tiny yellow birds and orange and black butterflies flitted about them. At the edge of the meadow, they came to the grove of palm trees. They climbed up the rope ladder and into the treehouse. Out the window, Jack saw the tall mountains, the small village, and flowery wet meadow, and the ocean. The water was peaceful again. I still have my lace, said Annie. She took it off. Though the red flowers were wet, They were still a little fluffy. It's proof that we found the special magic, said Jack. The magic of friendship. Annie put the lei on the floor next to the play scroll, the twig, and the corn seeds. They picked up the Pennsylvania book. Ready, she asked. Jack sighed. I love Hawaii, he said. Finally, you admit it, said Annie. She pointed at a picture of Frog Creek Woods. I wish we'd go home now. The wind started to blow. The treehouse started to spin. It spun faster and faster. Then everything was still. Absolutely still. Chapter 10. Everyday Magic. Jack opened his eyes. The sun was setting beyond the woods. No time at all had passed in Frog Creek. Welcome back, said a soft, lovely voice. Morgan Le Fay was in the magic treehouse. Morgan! Cried Annie. She threw her arms around the enchantress. Jack hugged Morgan too. Look, Morgan, said Annie. We have proof we found our special kind of magic. And there's Morgan Le Fay, and Jack and Annie are so happy to see her. They're giving her big, giant hugs. Yes, I see, said Morgan. Morgan picked up the play scroll that Shakespeare had given Jack and Annie in an old England. You found the magic of theater, she said. Morgan picked up the twig from the mountain gorilla in the African cloud forest. And the magic of animals, she said. Morgan picked up the pouch of corn seeds from their trip to the first Thanksgiving. And the magic of community, she said. Finally, Morgan picked up the wreath of flowers from Kama and Boca. And you discovered the magic of friendship, she said. Morgan looked at Jack and Annie for a long moment. Listen carefully to what I'm about to tell you, she said. Yes, they both leaned forward. You are now magicians of everyday magic, said Morgan. You have learned to find the magic in things you encounter on Earth every day. There are many other forms of everyday magic. You never have to look far to find it. You only have to live your life to the fullest. Jack and Annie nodded. Soon you will be called upon to use your knowledge of everyday magic in the realm of fantasy. The realm of fantasy, said Jack. Are we going back to Camelot, said Annie. Before Morgan could answer, a shout came from the distance. Jack! Annie! Oh, our dad's calling, said Annie. You must go home now, said Morgan gently. Rest and get ready to test your powers. Your most exciting challenges are yet to come. Goodbye, Morgan, said Annie and Jack. They hugged the enchantress. Then Jack took the Hawaii book out of his pack and gave it to Morgan. He put on his backpack and followed Annie down the ladder. When they stepped onto the ground, there was a great roar above them. Jack and Annie looked up. A swirl of sparkling light lit the top of the tree. Then the light was gone. The treehouse was gone. Morgan Le Fay was gone too. Jack and Annie didn't speak for a long moment. Then Jack broke the silence. Our most exciting challenges are yet to come, he said. What do you think Morgan meant by that? I don't know, said Annie. It sounds a little scary, said Jack. That's okay, we can handle it, said Annie. She smiled. We are magicians of everyday magic. Jack smiled. Yeah, he said, I guess we are. They walked out of the woods as the sun was setting. Down the street, their mom and dad were standing on their front porch. They waved at Jack and Annie. Jack felt a surge of happiness. There's another kind of magic, of everyday magic, he thought. The magic of family. In that moment, it seemed the best magic of all. That is the end of Magic Treehouse number 28, High Tide in Hawaii. And remember, this is Family Friday, and Jack and Annie said the best magic was the magic of family. Adios, amigos.